Welcome to our Sunday morning meditation service. The word for today is I release old beliefs as I grow and evolve. That's the daily word for today. We're so blessed to be part of this ministry, and when we were walking down Broadway and somebody that knew Jack walked up to him and said, "You've got to read this," and gave us a daily word. We were in a whole other world. We both read it, and it was like we had to seek out this organization, and that was the start of a whole new life. So we always want to be open to change. You never know how it's going to come. This person, we saw them later, never even remembered handing us this daily word. It was just a thing of God. So I'm going to do a call and response. And when I call, I hope you respond. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth to the minds of all. Let light descend on earth from the point of love within the heart of God. Let love stream forth to the hearts of all. Let love descend on earth from the center where the will of God is known. Let purpose guide the wills of all. The purpose that the masters know and serve. From the center which I call the state of love. Let the plan of love and light work out. The plan of love and light work out. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth to the minds of all. Let light descend on earth from the point of love within the heart of God. Let love stream forth to the hearts of all. Let love descend on earth. From the center where the will of God is known. Let purpose guide the wills of all. The purpose that the masters know and serve. From the center which I call the state of love. Let the plan of love and light work out. Let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where darkness dwells. Let love and light and peace restore the plan on earth. Let love and light and peace restore the plan on earth. Let love and light and peace restore the plan on earth. Home,
Good morning, everyone. From all the life-healing wisdom that came through the psychic readings of Edgar Cayce, we have this. Can I have this first PowerPoint, please? From Edgar Cayce's Companion 172. We don't go to heaven, we grow to heaven. This again is another reference to heaven being a state of consciousness that we grow into over time. And this, of course, is what the masters have always related down through the ages And when we finally decide this is true, we will take to task our own awareness and bring forth that more harmonious, joyful experience called enlightenment. Then we have the greatest of gurus, Guru J.G., who said this. Can we have the next? Mankind's greatest joy derives from his own inner awakening to his divine self. For just as flowers grow in places where they will never be seen or appreciated by anyone, they blossom with beauty. That is their heaven. Can we take this back again, please? Mankind's greatest joy derives from his own inner awakening to his divine self. For just as flowers grow in places where they will never be seen or appreciated by anyone, they blossom with beauty. That is their heaven. That final thought in this particular PowerPoint is an interesting one that came into some kind of situation where Hallmark cards, the Hallmark card industry, took on a quote that I used when I gave a talk about flowers. And in the talk, I said flowers grow in places where no one will ever see them. And that whole talk came out of an experience that we had, the entire family had, on one of our vacations. For a number of vacations, at different times, we rented a houseboat on Lake Powell, and we'd go out and spend 5-6 days exploring the canyons on Lake Powell. If you've never been to Lake Powell, there's like 290 miles. There was. I don't think it's that open anymore to do what we did. But we would go out, and we always brought a small dinghy rubber inflatable boat that would hold the whole family. It was maybe 9 feet when it was inflated, because we weren't just going to explore the canyons with the houseboat. When the water would narrow and lead further into a canyon or two in a remote area, that's where we'd like to explore. So we would get into the rubber boat when we got to the place where the houseboat could no longer take us any further. We'd anchor the big boat and get into the rubber boat with paddles and paddle our way further in to these remote places. And we had amazing, interesting experiences. Those of you that have been in Unity for a while have heard some of them, but this particular experience I'm talking about took place deep in one of these remote canyons. And you have to know that at some point, these canyons went through all kinds of changes, because we got to a place in this one canyon where we tied off the rubber boat and we were hiking in, and we found an area where the runoff water from the top of the canyon comes cascading down and carries with it such an amount of dirt and rock that it built a cave, a sort of a cave. It wasn't a cave in the side of the mountain. It was a cave that was created by this, I guess it happened over years, maybe decades, And it was all dirt that had become solidified, and it hung almost like a cave, in a half cave, so to speak. And it ran for about, 50 yards. So we were walking through this incredible element in the Grand Canyon. And in the wall of this dirt cave was a beautiful, just one beautiful red flower. And I said to everybody in the family, this whole concept that this flower has possibly never been seen by any other human being. We have the privilege of being able to witness the majesty and the miracle of this flower here. How did it survive with all that was going on, all the upheaval and everything that happened to create that strange configuration? We will never know. But it decided to grow. It had to grow. And the blossom wasn't as big as a red rose, but it was about half the size of an ordinary rose, and a beautiful, beautiful red hue with a green stem that went down into the dirt and some leaves that came up beside it. So I came back and I gave a talk about the concept that is offered to us by the masters down through the ages, and offered to us by the master of masters in the Bible, who said, when you pray, don't go out on the street corner and pray, or in the synagogues as the hypocrites do, but go into your closet and pray to your Father who sees in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. I find that to be the most beautiful expression of people on the spiritual journey. For a long time, even when we're on our spiritual journey, we keep thinking that we have to enlighten everyone we meet, or at least some of the people we meet. We have to get it across to them that they should be meditating. I ran into a lot of this, and I'm someone who's done exactly that over the years. And I might be still doing it. So, but just like, look at how interesting that thought is. So you're supposed to pray to your Father, go inside your closet or your room and close the door, and pray to your Father who sees in secret, and he will reward you openly. This whole thing goes with the idea of the flower that will never be seen, never actually be appreciated by anyone. But it grows anyway, and its blossoming is its own heaven. I say to you without a second thought or doubt, you will only arrive when you know it is all internal. The spiritual journey is all internal. And it requires those changes within our own awareness that are then reflected in the life we see around us. There is no other way. When we get down to the idea that our thoughts determine our outlook on life and our relationships with everything that lives. We are right there, right in the heart of truth. So that just like when, I guess Swami Rama said it at a ARE meeting in New York City to a lady that was fitful and unhappy. He said, "Don't you like your life?" She said, "No, I don't like my life." He said, "Change your mind." And this is it. That is the truth. And so we become flowers that don't necessarily have to be seen. Our spiritual practice and our spiritual work takes place within. And as we make these changes within toward the guidance of the core nature of us, we're all made in the image and likeness of God. That can never be changed. But the expression of that truth is a matter of our own personal determination. That is where free will comes in. To the degree that we are able to live that truth without looking for it to be acknowledged by anyone or anything, simply because the joy and the peace and the love that come from it is all we're here to experience. Everything we've ever wanted to try to gain from the world pales in significance to having this joy of the presence of God, the presence of truth. So that is where we are. In other words, what I'm sharing with you is probably not a new revelation to most of you that have been unity, studying the unity principles for a while. But what we're involved with this morning is how do we transcend the ever-present, domineering thinking of the world. And I hope to help us do that this morning. So I'll take this next PowerPoint, please, from A Course in Miracles. The old text has it on page 359. The new edition is on 385. It doesn't get clearer or more cogent than the way it is stated here. Heaven is not a place nor a condition. It is merely an awareness of perfect oneness, of the knowledge that there is nothing else, nothing outside this oneness and nothing else within. Heaven is not a place nor a condition. It is merely an awareness of perfect oneness and knowledge that there is nothing else, nothing outside this oneness, nothing else within. So we've come into a place in the grand scheme of human experience where it is possible to be in denial of oneness, to be in denial of the fact that everyone and everything is not part of God. And therefore, we take it upon ourselves to judge and condemn and seek to punish and to, in our own minds, correct injustices. That is the world that Jesus refers to when he says, in the world you have tribulation. In other words, no one, regardless of that person's status or economic prowess or popularity, personality, no one ever escapes the fact that if you still operate in the thinking of the world, you are in a state of denial of the truth that will make you feel great. So if you need that, if you still need those judgments and condemnations, if you still need to withhold forgiveness, consideration, care, kindness, open-minded insightfulness about the majesty and the miracle of being alive, if you still can't handle that, then it's up to you to, because you're deciding to not enter a dimension of truth in which there is only the presence. And everything in that reality is either experiencing the present or seeking the presence. And so there is an understanding that judgment and condemnation are only work to destroy my inner well-being. And by the way, last Sunday at our discussion group, we decided you could actually define heaven as a state of well-being and peace of mind that doesn't deviate. A state of well-being and peace of mind that does not diminish or deviate is heaven. So that there is no longer anything that takes place in the thinking of the world that can overly concern you at all. Because if you're operating from this truth that only our thoughts, our deepest held beliefs, which may lend themselves to concern and resentment and anger and hate, that's not real, in a sense, from the divine awareness. The divine awareness we seek, we talk about enlightenment. Everybody would like to know, what is enlightenment? How do I get it? What does it mean? It means that you now do not leave the world, but you leave the limited definition of life that the world has offered you and actually conditioned you to believe in. An erroneous definition of life that does not play out for harmony, health, peace, wisdom, joy, and truth. It doesn't, can never do that. Only a person deciding that the world and its thinking can never do that. Only the divine thinking and consciousness can deliver me from experiencing life in that erroneous fashion. So we'll take the next PowerPoint, please. Course in Miracles, page 82. In the old text, page 89. But the time is now. These next two Course in Miracles quotes. This is the yoga for those who are on the path and will ultimately, not very long, discover what it means to be truly awake and alive. But the time is now. You have not been asked to work out the plan of salvation yourself because as I told you before, the remedy could not be of your making. God himself gave you the perfect correction for everything you made that is not in accord with his holy will. Whenever you are not wholly joyous, and it is because you have reacted with a lack of love to one of God's creations, perceiving this as sin, you become defensive because you expect attack. The decision to react in this way is yours and can therefore be undone. It cannot be undone by repentance in the usual sense, because this implies guilt. If you allow yourself to feel guilty, you will reinforce the error rather than allow it to be undone for you. Can we take this back again, please? Such incredible wisdom, such an incredible study, such an incredible calling. Hey, if you don't like your life, do this. But the time is now. You have not been asked to work out the plan of salvation yourself, because, as I told you before, the remedy could not be of your making. God himself gave you the perfect correction for everything you made. That is, everything you conjured, everything you imagined, everything you came to believe in the world in which you were born, raised, and falsely educated, everything that came to you that created the consciousness in which you find yourself today, everything that is not in accord with his holy will. Whenever you are not wholly joyous, it is because you have reacted with a lack of love to one of God's creations. Perceiving this as sin, you become defensive because you expect attack. The decision to react in this way is yours and can therefore be undone. It cannot be undone by repentance in the usual sense, because this implies guilt. If you allow yourself to feel guilty, you will reinforce the error rather than allow it to be undone for you. In other words, if you want to prolong that limited definition of life, that kind of growls within your mind, you're right in doing this. Are you really? Because it takes away your feeling of well-being. And so, I remember when I was beginning my spiritual journey way back in New York City, in the tiny little place, it's an apartment, where we had the Association for Research and Enlightenment in New York City. And I remember the consternation and the internal conflicts that people had more vividly than I remember the ones that recently come into my experience. Because there were so many people that were new on the journey. And it was hard for all of us, myself included, to believe that the only real injustice was one's own inner limited definition of life. And that was the hard one. That was the hard path to take. But let me show you why A Course in Miracles wants to eliminate guilt. You know, we might think to ourselves, well, if you said something, if you said something that's not in keeping with kindness and consideration and love, or at least truth, it's not, and you don't feel good about it, you can change it. Immediately, you can change it. You can acknowledge that I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? And let it go. Don't continue on feeling guilty about it, because as long as you continue to do that, you're in denial of your life as it should be lived. I want to give this example. Today, they market a particular drug, it's a pill, that you can take to prevent heartburn when you're eating some food that really doesn't work well with your digestion. So when you're going to eat this particular food, I don't know, it might be, I don't know, some special Mexican dish, or it doesn't have to be that. It might be some kind of dish that doesn't work well with your own metabolism. You can take this pill, and it prevents you from having heartburn. I don't know what the side effects of that pill are, but I think the name on the pill should be, "Take this if you're stupid." Because your body is saying something to you about something that you're putting into your body. And you are totally ignoring the negative result. The thing to do is to not eat that food anymore. Or maybe you're eating a combination of things that you have to figure out to change, because the heartburn is a message to you. And the same thing is true about embracing and harboring thoughts that are not in keeping with the divine reality of oneness. It's all God. How are you couching your thinking? How are you couching the things you say when you know that everything you look at is part of God? If it isn't fully expressing it, it is seeking to express it. And the only valid response to anything is unconditional. Listen to it. If you don't take anything else out of here, take this with you. Listen to it. I know the other part of this, the higher part of this is tough, but take this with you. You're in the process of discovering unconditional acceptance. So that if you can't fully love and bless, at least you can say, all right, I can see that this particular individual or this condition is working to find its way into that divine understanding. So unconditional acceptance is part of our journey. Now with this thing with food, if you continue to harbor some thoughts you think are really necessary because you're holding something or someone in limitation, in blame, and you think, well, they're worthy of it. What you are doing is you're taking that food in that's creating you heartburn. And you're not deciding to involve yourself with it. You're not giving it up. You're still poisoning your being. You're poisoning your consciousness. So it's, my God, look at this. How beautiful is truth when it says it's only you and how you are choosing that determines whether you feel good or you don't feel good. And if you don't feel good for long periods of time, you'll soon have physical evidence why you should not feel good. Can we have this final PowerPoint, please? Decision cannot be difficult. This is obvious. If you realize that you must already have decided not to be wholly joyous, if that is how you feel, therefore, the first step in the undoing is to recognize that you actively decided otherwise. Be very firm with yourself in this and keep yourself fully aware that the undoing process, which does not come from you, is nevertheless within you because God placed it there. Your part is made. Give it over to the at-one-ment in peace. With all the considerations going on in our head about things that we find that are unjust, terrible, wrong, evil, all this stuff, we're going back and forth, and we discuss it every chance we get and bring it up, and making everything around us just continue in this limited fashion of ignoring the willingness to feel good. And the way to feel good is to understand there is only God calling us to be still and know the state of well-being found in forgiveness, consideration, acceptance, and love. Can we take this back again, please? Course in Miracles, page 83, and the new text is 90. Decision cannot be difficult. This is obvious. If you realize that you must already have decided not to be wholly joyous, if that is how you feel. You must have decided that. Therefore, the first step in the undoing is to recognize that you actively decided otherwise. You've decided, I don't feel joy, and I don't need to feel joy. Doesn't work for me. I feel right. I feel justified. I feel vindicated. Be very firm with yourself in this and keep yourself fully aware that the undoing process, which does not come from you, is nevertheless within you because God placed it there. Your part is made. Give it over to the at-one-ment in peace. Give your mind over to the at-one-ment in peace. Not the duality. Not there's me and all that has offended me. Not there's me and all that's not just in the life I'm living. There's me and all that's worthy of blame. That is the separation. That is the life we want to transcend. Step higher into the life of the divine, so that the origin, which is within you, as the Course continues to say, the God nature within you is there and can be accessed. That God nature speaks in terms of that one-ment. So, whenever you're not feeling joyous, and you're not in a state of well-being, why do you sneak in here like that? If I knew you had come in, I would have stopped earlier. Now this meditation is going to be short again.
I'll just go like this.
Okay, and the blame is on you. Okay. No, it is true. I didn't even know she's here. And I need that to be able to say it's time to stop. Okay, so I've stopped. Let's take a couple of deep breaths and release your breath. Release any really strong concerns that you may have brought with you. You know that you embrace harmony in your awareness. Everything in your life is affected. Everything. So if you embrace harmony now and a willingness to be present in feeling good, it can all just dissolve all the concerns, the worries and the fears, and you can be in that state of well-being that is heaven. So with each breath, give yourself permission to be okay. Give yourself permission to be one with reality. And you can bring to mind this particular ideal and gently hold this ideal as a mantra for this meditation. My mind determines how I experience every person and every situation for inner peace or inner conflict. My mind determines how I experience every person and every situation for inner peace or inner conflict. My mind determines how I experience every person and every situation for inner peace or inner conflict. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space. Let us go forth with a greater determination to be awake in the process of living. For this opportunity in every moment, we give thanks. And to this, we say, Amen. We will take an offering now for unity. And those of you that are watching this on a screen, I invite you to take some Sunday off from the screen and come back into the church of brick and mortar. In the meantime, you can do the right thing and you can tithe to Unity of Boulder so we can continue to share the truth as we share it here. That's why you're tuning in. You're seeking to understand how to live more effectively, beautifully, joyfully. Well, you're tuning into the right place. So why don't you think about sending a gift to support Unity of Boulder? You can do that by going to unityofboulder.com. We have a QR code on our website. We even have one in the lobby here if you want to use your cell phone to scan that code and then make a donation. It's all very much appreciated. So everyone here can bring into their hands that gift they'd like to make to Unity. And let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love.
Oh, and I challenge you to inspire someone to join you next Sunday when you come to the brick and mortar church here. Bring someone with you or inspire them to show up and share in the Unity of Boulder experience, which is always followed by a discussion group. Just as today, we will have our discussion group right after the service in the bookstore. There's an annex room with chairs in a circle. And in that discussion, you can bring up anything you want about the talk today or unity in general or your life or your spiritual experience. We talk about anything and everything. And there's a lot of in-tune people there to share this discussion with. So I invite you to show up for the discussion. You also have tea and cookies over here in the fellowship hall. If you want to grab a cup of tea, you can do that as well. To everyone, have an awakened day.